Mic check. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. It sure gets lonely here in Sunflower's garden. If only the people in the peanut gallery had the cojones to step up to the plate, but of course they never do. Yeah, I'm guessing no one's gonna come. Maybe I should just call it off. So yeah, I'm probably gonna call this off. I didn't expect anyone to really come. I was thinking maybe if like one or two people just wanted to sort of chat, screw it. But I'll give it to 11:20 and then I'll shut it down if no one's here. Oh, oh, man. I mean, I really just keeping these atheists in check is a full time job. I don't know if I can keep doing it. Like they're just so stupid. They're so hypocritical. I mean, you gotta realize there's something funny. There's something legitimately funny and comedic about an atheist that just wants to get down to like things as sort of difficult things as difficult as like the origins of matter and quantum particles and will and all of the things, and like they just want to like have this this truth-based skepticism based approach that's just relentless and rigorous, which is to be fair, fine. But then when you start talking about trans women and women's sports, it's just like, well, there's no data that says it would. Like the suspension of disbelief comparatively is, it's something to behold. you know uh, Michael McGillicuddy, messages were all hidden. Why? Like they timed you out, or what do you mean? You can feel free to come on my stream, man. Say what you want to say. You mean like your super chats were hidden, or just every comment you made? I mean, maybe they banned you or blocked you from commenting. That's weird. They usually don't do that. You must have really done something to piss them off. Well, anyway, I don't know, man. I noticed on my phone while signed out, all my messages weren't appearing. So wait, so were they were appearing while you were signed in? Because interestingly enough, that's happened to me, but never with a live chat, only with like comments on YouTube videos that are already posted. There's definitely, and you know what? Actually, I've posted videos and I've seen an option for that. It says like there's basically an option that says like restrict potentially harmful comments or something like that. The question is how, what algorithm they use to flag comments as potentially harmful. So, but that's very strange that live chat messages were being filtered. I've never heard of that, but maybe it's coming from the same kind of thing. It's a little weird. Like comments get blocked a lot of live chat. Yeah, that's weird, man. That sucks. I don't know. I mean, you could. could try to reach out. You could try to email them, but I don't know if you'll get an answer. James is actually usually pretty good about that, but if it was like a mod that did it and not James, I doubt that he'll. I don't know. I don't know to what extent he'll really investigate, just because he might not have time. But it's worth a shot, I guess. Click clack, click clack. I think a lot of people were hidden by mods tonight. It was unusually tame given the topic. Interesting. That's definitely possible, because last time, well, at least back when I was still a mod, back in those days, there was a time where there was a debate on, I believe, abortion, and the amount of transphobic and just generally hateful, insulting comments was like so through the roof that we couldn't even keep up with it. Maybe they sort of preemptively, uh, but I don't know why they would preemptively like block people. That's just weird. Um, I guess I'll try chatting tomorrow and see if I can answer back. Yeah, I actually agree with you. You know, I don't. I think that there should be a standard of like blatant hate speech. That is going too far, but I mean, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, the mod, literally misread a comment I made once, somehow construed it that I was misgendering someone, and like timed me out, and the other mods had to actually say that he didn't say, like, why would you do that? Like, he didn't say anything wrong. And then Ninetales admitted they messed up and like untimed me out. But maybe, like, I don't. If they didn't catch it, I would have just been screwed. So, James is doing the best he can. I would, if you I would not only ask by email, I would also maybe like, do you know about the Discord? If I were you, I would ask in the Discord and like ask a moderator. They'll probably let you know. Um, Let me try to find the Discord link. Oh wait, it's not accepting new invites at this time or something like that. I remember that, like, doesn't let me invite people. I don't know, man. Yeah, I would just try to dig around a little bit. If it's legitimately for no good reason and it was a mistake, they'll definitely unblock you. I would just try to ask a moderator or something. But anyway, I'm gonna shut this stream down. Unless I'm sorry that your comments weren't expressed. If but it looks like no one really wants to come in and talk. So yeah, I don't think it's really worth it for me to keep this stream going. So yeah, probably gonna shut it down. Maybe I'll just leave it till 11:30. See if anyone wants to come on. Later, Michael. Good luck with the channel. Chris, what's up? Link? What do you mean? Oh, streaming. Oh, of course. I didn't post. I always forget to do that. I always forget to post the StreamYard link. That's right. Let me fix that. I put it in the description. I always forget to do that. All right, now it's in the description. So, yeah. Thanks for the sub, man.
Yeah, I didn't see a link. It took me a second to flat because you had sunflower one word, and I don't know why I thought I had subscribed to you, but I didn't. So I had to go through a couple. I had to go through actually.
Oh, your mic just cut out. I'm not really sure why.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. My channel's kind of hard to find. I don't really promote it or anything.
Same here, man. I only got a couple of subscribers.
Yeah, I don't. I actually I have a weird position on like channels like this and platforms like this. I actually refuse to take money. And there's a reason for that, and it's not a reason I would expect anyone else to follow as a standard, because for some people they actually need another additional income source because they can't afford bills. That's a different story. But for me, I started to realize that people that have platforms that are political, that are centralized around politics or ideology or anything dogmatic or whatever, as soon as they realize that tilting in a certain direction is getting them more views and donations, no matter what, they're gonna be vulnerable to
Pandering.
Yeah, but not only, but here's the thing: it starts out as maybe deliberate pandering, where they go, "Oh, I know that I don't actually believe this, but I'm just sort of, leaning into it just to get more views." But if you keep doing that long enough, you'll probably start believing that the things that you've been, masquerading as. It's like if you're
I've seen it recently.
right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I don't want to be subject to money. I don't even want to have the temptation of like, well, if I make another video debunking such and such, I know that such and such group will love it and donate to it. Like that, I don't want that. I don't want that temptation. I'd like to think that I'd be able to resist it and just be perfectly objective. But for me, a way easier way around that is just not to accept money, or if I did, I would directly link it to a charity, so there was no confusion that I even could take any of it.
Yeah, and that was a thing with the whole Maddox and Dillahunty thing there. Like I think it would have been no problem if he just would have done it like low key to his subscribers. But
yeah, who knows who even leaked it? Like
yeah,
it's so funny to see like the tendrils, the henchmen that operate exactly like any other cult or dogma. The same way, like these atheists bash religion is, and then like, what does Dillahunty think all of his volunteers are that aren't getting paid? All of his internet henchmen that just go out and spy and leak documents and it's like report back to him and do work for him for free. Like, what is that then? It's not a cult? Like, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, like that's what I've always said is like, what's their end goal? They like Jungle touched on it last night in the praises chat. He's like, you atheists, you have no position. You have nothing to say.
Exactly. That's what's weird about it. They're gathering and they're congregating around a lack of a belief in something. And it's not as trivial of a thing it sounds. I think that the fact that they're doing this is an indication that there's something more, what's the word? Like, it's like they have a personal vendetta against.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. They have a axe to grind.
Right. It's not just like they're not just pursuing truth blindly and then, as a unintentional obstacle in the pursuit of truth, there just happens to be religion. It's like, no, this seems like a very targeted, personal motivation. And you know what a good example of this I always say, all of the most famous and successful atheists are famous and successful for stuff unrelated to the fact that they're atheists. Like if you find out that they're atheists after the fact, it's not like they're using it's like, oh, and I created the cure for such and such because I didn't believe in God. Like, no, that doesn't even make any sense. It's like the only person they can reference is like Dawkins because he was like a anti-theist antagonist. But guess what? Like he not only is he one of the most hated people in science, period. People could have made similar contributions without being an atheist. Like, it's not like that was a prerequisite to anything he did. So, or they bring up Hitchens, who was basically just like a provocateur.
He was all about getting paid and being hedonistic. I mean, that was he flaunted it. He didn't make no bones about it.
Yeah, and it's like, to people, does anyone think that Christopher Hitchens would have been as outwardly anti-theistic if theism wasn't like a ubiquitous thing for him to just take pot shots at easily? It's kind of like you look at Milo Yiannopoulos and the whole era of those provocateurs. Now, whether or not what they said was something they believed in and had truth to it is not relevant, but it's what did they decide to go after? Well, they decided to go after the juicy subjects that were going to get them more views and more fame and more money. So again, it's like, people, it's not like I don't think Christopher Hitchens was on a crusade against theism. I think he was an intelligent entertainer. He was a sharp guy, and he picked topics that he knew were going to get, views and get him more viewers and income. So whatever.
Yeah, I'm the same way as what you were talking about. I just opened my channel just basically to be able to link to other people's channels and be able to get notifications. And then once I got a PC, I was lucky to get a PC. Jungle Jargon actually helped me out. He helped John Maddox out, and when he was with John, they did a live stream. He said he had some more he wanted to get rid of. And I was like, well, yeah, sure. I'd like to buy one. I mean, I was looking to get a new one anyways, because I gave mine to my niece. Hers got stolen and she was going to college. And so long story short, I don't want to like out his good deed or nothing, but I met up with him and he helped me out. And it's a nice little laptop, man. So I could,
that's awesome.
I can do some screen sharing, and I keep up a lot quicker. I don't have to worry about, dropping, because it hooks to, it connects to my Wi-Fi. It seems, better. I can connect it straight in if I need to.
That's great news. I mean, I'm thrilled to hear that there was a way that he could help you out. And
man, there are real people out there, and Jungle's one of them, man. He's a real person, dude. That is about what he says.
And let me just be clear. I really do mean that anyone that is earning money or income from this stuff, I have zero issue with that at all. Like I said, I'm very, very, I guess, unusual in my position on doing that, and I wouldn't expect anyone else to do that. I'm just getting sort of my explanation for why I don't, or you know what? I don't even, maybe I can't predict the future. I guess maybe if there was some circumstance where I could see how I could somehow remain neutral and objective, but I really don't see myself doing it. But I totally respect everyone that does do it, and I'm not even saying that just for theists. I mean, look, if an atheist wants to earn money on their channel, okay. But again, I'm just going to question. I'm eventually going to start asking questions and on their motivations and how objective they are. This is especially true. I think that one of the best communities to look towards for this is the vegan community. Okay, like,
yeah,
if someone has a vegan channel and they have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and people look up to them as an authority in veganism. And a shiny example of how they can be healthy and happy and still be vegan. Why would this person ever publicly say, I'm no longer vegan, or oh, sorry, a good argument came up and it actually means that we can't be as as nutritionally sufficient on veganism. They would never do this. Why would they? Why would they just sacrifice this amazing income source they had? So I mean, I can't know for sure if they're maybe omitting certain things or artificially propping up their vegan dogma just so they can perpetuate the income level. But I would be shocked if that wasn't happening on some level,
Well, definitely. I mean, the thing is like, I'm a patron to one person, and I just wanted to start help their channel out a little bit, and just see how it goes, and because there are people that that have something to say, and I think they do a good job at what they do, so and I'm willing to stick behind them.
Oh, sure. I've been patrons of people before who I think are truly objective and are just like it's rare, but there are people I've seen that do this. So
But
yeah,
you're so right though, but then there comes a point to where like well, not always, but I mean there comes a point a lot of times they do change, you know what I mean? Because like, there is money to be made on this, you know what I mean?
right,
So like
right.
it's an income source, especially in these days, this times, you can make money doing something like this, why not? So I didn't have any problem with John, getting, wanting to get some time off to prepare for that debate, or even just to even get paid to do the debate. If his followers wanted to donate to him, it wouldn't have mattered if he really wanted the money to debate. You know what I mean? I know I would have felt less kind of comfortable with that, but I don't see it's it's capitalism. You know what I mean? It's not like he was preaching. He was debating. And if it was a preacher, it'd be a different story. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd have a bigger problem.
Yeah.
But you put your time. I mean, that's what I mean. Time is money. So if you're willing to put your time into something and you want to get compensated for it, why not? If you can,
Absolutely, yeah.
But maybe he could have done that, and then he could have actually benefited more from not doing that. You know what I mean? With the views and exposure he might have got, especially if he, took him to task.
What's interesting about that though is, to me, that just demonstrates that there's no way he actually had bad intentions, right? Because
he didn't.
If he knew of the fallout that would ensue after people became aware,
he wouldn't have risked it. No,
of course not. Right. So but somehow people still think that this was just some kind of like, evil plot to like trick people at like, it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous, but
it is,
whatever. Well, anyway, I guess I'll hang out for a few more minutes here.
Yeah, man. I just want to subscribe to your channel and say, hey, I was really just teasing you because,
yeah,
I thought it was funny to do. I seen somebody else do it. And,
I had nothing else to do.
Your channel isn't a real. It'd be funnier to do somebody that has like a more popular channel that a bunch of people show up.
Right. But, yeah, that would have been funny. Yeah, but yeah, I had nothing else really to do. I'm probably gonna go to sleep in like 30 minutes, but
no biggie, man.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the debate tonight? I thought
the debate tonight, like I said in the chat, was a complete waste of time debate because
I agree.
It just, I mean, like it's nonsensical to argue that it's like I made a reference like it'd be no different than throwing dogs in a cockfight. It's just
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like I can't stand the hypocrisy in terms of like, did you see that one person, communist propagandist, like their argument was they were citing a meta-analysis, right? First of all, if you go into that meta-analysis, some of the sports they're referencing are like badminton. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure but anyway, like,
well, there's a greater point. There's a point here. The thing about that, I don't know if Smokey hit or not because I was busy during the time taking care of my grandfather, so I was listening from my phone. But there is that. This debate here is one of the best ways to kind of corner them and show and point to that there is a difference between men and women, because he did bring up the MMA thing, and so. Like there is a physical difference, and it's okay for there to be a difference. We don't have to be equal. In other words, you know what I mean. We're not equal in every area, and that's okay. But what they want to do is in like the woke movement or whatever label you want to put on it. They want to be like, no, we're completely equal. There's nothing that women, no, we're not completely equal. You know what I mean?
Well, so here's like, if we break it down very simply, there's a lot of sophistry and misrepresentation of data going on here. So if you just start from the basic position of like something as simple as like, well, ask like I'm hypothetically asking like someone that would have been like Jimmy's or whatever perspective. It's like, well, in their first 100 words that they conceded. So if you say like, do you think that just cis men have an advantage over cis women? Period.
Yeah.
And if they say, and almost virtually everyone will concede yes, but communist propagandists said, I don't have data on that. So like, okay, yeah, great. So if we establish that, and then we move from there to establishing their only talking point, which is there's no data that trans women have an advantage over cis women. Well, okay, so something happens in the process between their concession that cis men do have an advantage over cis women and their acceptance of the data that but trans women don't. And that so if you ask them how there could be a disparity like that, their only answer is, well, testosterone levels, and that's it. So I don't see why they're framing the argument in any other way. It's like if they really think it's just testosterone levels, then you wouldn't expect to see um, like such a staggering amount of male dominance in all Olympic fields, in my opinion. Like,
well, you've got different like in your genes. Like I know, I follow MMA pretty closely. I've always have. I mean, for like ever since its inception. But like there's a lot of wrestlers, okay, and a lot of guys that don't have as good as cardio, like as most wrestlers have great cardio, and it's something that they've done since a young age. Or a lot of times you like your maximum oxygen volume of oxygen that you can get in your lungs, that's kind of like a set thing genetically. You know what I mean? You can train all you want to, but there's some people that are just gifted genetically. You know what I mean?
right.
And that's what I'm saying. There's some things in the male gene, in the gene code for males, that are going to allow them to maximize, you know, things that females are not, no matter how much that.
Oh, right, of course. And
Yeah,
right, and like think about it like this, like
biologically, you know what I mean. Biologically, if you're a
yeah,
male,
and think about the way we make inferences about evolution, and we think about and then like again, evolutionary biologists will say things like, well, it makes sense that the position of the vertebrae here meant that this monkey was walking upright, and like they can come to a conclusion on something as little as that, but yet they can't look at the trillions of times more data we have in our present day life in the last few hundreds or thousands of years that men evolved biologically in several different ways to be more fit for physical activity, and that's obviously probably due to things like having to hunt. So like we have there's you couldn't anything you could anything within the anthropomorphic or anthropological evolutionary biology sphere, any single thing that we probably have more evidence for is uh, sexual dimorphism in humans, and
mm-hmm.
yet it seems like in the name of just not wanting to hurt trans women's feelings and not wanting to make them, or trans people's rather, feelings, and not wanting to make them feel excluded, they're willing to just absolutely just represent data and play the fool and say, well, I don't know any of that. The data says this. Like, it's unbelievable. It's seriously beyond any, it's beyond belief in my opinion. It's like, it's so ridiculous that it's
Well, yeah,
almost
it's a topic that highlights the absurdity of, you know what I mean, of where this topic can go to, you know what I mean.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like oh well, there's no like
the trans, I mean,
not
the
all
reference.
trans women dominate in sports. Yeah, like you could also find like an overweight, like unathletic man that has no endurance. Obviously, you put him up against a Olympic female athlete, he's not going to win. That
Right.
doesn't mean that men as a group don't have advantages.
Exactly.
So this is like, again, this is the absurdity. Like they pick and choose, they cherry pick which data they look at. They concede that cis men have an advantage, but they don't concede that trans women do because the data doesn't show it. Um, and because it's just like, admit that you have an agenda and stop acting like, I'm speaking hypothetically to them. Like, why can't they admit they have an agenda
Well,
and
if
they're
they do that though, then they're going to have, like I said, this is the perfect topic because then they have to admit that that there is a biological difference that can't be overcome. You know what I mean? So
right?
there's a distinct difference between male and female, and that's what they do not want to
Yeah.
go
Well,
down.
at that
That's the
point they
rabbit
just go.
hole.
At that point they just go, okay, sex and gender are totally different things, and
Hmm.
yeah. So I mean, which look, I don't even have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with trans people. I'll use their preferred pronouns. I do not have an issue with people identifying as another gender. But again, if you take it to the point where there's so much denial of reality and science that you're just forcing it to the point where you won't allow the truth to, enter the equation. It's ridiculous. At that point, I have to draw the line and say, look, this just isn't this just isn't realistic.
And totally.
I mean, can you imagine, like, again? And I think there's something to be said about just the. I mean, this is a very controversial and unpopular belief in terms of male brain versus female brain. But to me, in my lived experience, men seem more relentlessly competitive in that their men are more willing to, like, completely thwart and dominate their opponent with no real regard for, like, the opponent's feelings. It's like, this is kind of why you have, like, the coaches or the school boards have to set these mercy rules, because the players themselves probably won't stop. If like, if a high school basketball or if a middle school, whatever, the team is beating another team like 180 to 12, I don't know that the players will stop. The adult kind of has to step in.
Yeah,
and
that's so
and
true.
so, I kind of think about it like, when you look at men in all fields, video games, chess, um, any competitive game, the fact that men are always in a higher tier, the best of the men are always better than the best of women. It almost, in my opinion, it could go beyond physical. It could go into some kind of mental adaptation men have made to be more competitive and relentless, and
To
when they
put the foot on the throat, you know what I mean, when you're crushing your
exactly
opponent.
exactly, and it makes sense that women wouldn't have this be just because of, oxytocin and
Right.
maternal kind of instinct. And again, this doesn't,
Estrogen.
yeah, it's like, this doesn't make women worse than men in any way. Being
Right.
different is not being better or worse.
That was
You
my
know,
point. That's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's they have to accept that it's okay to say. Like I said that in the chat that it's that we're not necessarily the same, and that's okay. You know what I
it's
mean?
totally okay.
But
Yeah,
then
but
some things that it is okay to want to include in some, but some things it's not. Like which the sports thing would be one that it's let's keep it separate. Let's make it fair.
yeah, and again, even the let's go even further and say, how about just the pure democratic vote of the league members? Like, I don't know what the current at what like if you were to poll uh like a bunch of women in a certain league, whether it be women's basketball or women's running or women's fighting. I don't know how they poll, but if let's just say if the overwhelming majority didn't feel comfortable with trans women competing with them, are we just allowed to say, like, too bad? That just seems ridiculous in its like itself. Like, why should you be able to override the democratic vote of the athletes that make up the league? That's just weird, in my opinion. I mean, Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the example they gave was in a different fighting organization, the UFC. That it's never happened in the UFC, and I don't think Dana White would allow it. You know what I mean? He's pretty,
yeah,
his political views are of course, he's very supportive of Trump, so I guess, he would be right for sure. But yeah, he at one point, but he's famous, notorious for saying something, going back on it. But at one point he said there will be no female fighters in the UFC, and then of course he changed it, and then he had a cash cow in Ronda Rousey, and
right.
he capitalized on that. And then now you have gotten it took a while for them to catch up, but you do have some women that are getting very competitive, and a lot of them are using designer drugs to cheat, I believe. And you'll see the ones that start looking manly, and their face changes and whatnot. And but it's
Yeah, but
sad to
they'll,
see
they'll
that.
never get as big. Like
No,
even the scariest, like most muscular, female fighters, like their frame is just narrower. It's just it doesn't have as much, like they'll never get those
bone
crazy
mass, yeah, they're
Brock Lesnar like traps and arms. It just doesn't seem physically
because their
possible.
bone mass does not support that. You know what I mean? It's not,
Right.
not naturally. You have they're smaller frame. You have middle, large frame people, and you can put your fingers around your wrist. If they touch, your medium frame, mine overlaps, so I'm small frame, and if they
Yeah.
don't touch at all, you're large frame. And so that right there just tells you about how much muscle mass you're going to top out at. You know what I mean? You're not going
Right.
to, unless you use, even if you use steroids, you're still only going to gain to a certain extent before you hurt something. If we hurt yourself, because
Right. Right. Right.
you're not
And
you.
it's so like I just don't get. It's just such a weird thing to truly go to war for, like the inclusion of trans women in sports. Like it's just like there's ways to do this that don't involve just just destroying the integrity of the sport in the name of a very, 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 very small minority of people. Like
Yeah, and once you go down that road, I don't think you can go back. That's the problem. That's what I didn't.
yeah, right. You
You know what I
can't
mean?
just you can't just then say 5 years from now, oh, sorry, you're all disqualified
Yeah,
overnight. Yeah,
and then because then it would just be total chaos, uproar. So yeah, once you let, and that's a lot of things. You let their foot in the door, and I'm like you. I don't have a problem if somebody wants to do something personally. That's fine. But when you're changing sports or social, what I mean, not just social
right,
norms. I'm talking about actual things that are separated male and female.
right,
Which we're talking sports, so that's what we're talking about.
right.
Yeah, let's not. Now if a female is good enough to play on a male's team, great, play. I mean, it's all, I'm all for it. But
Yeah, I mean, look, if the female's okay with it and the guys are okay with it, I guess there's no problem with that. But come on, like if we're all being realistic here, if you like the person asked about the
well, the
NFL,
women are the one getting mad. It was the women athletes that are ones that were upset. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That are pissed
right,
off.
right. But like, can you imagine like if there was a woman on like a hockey team or a football team? I I don't think the guys. I think they're just not going to hit her as hard, just out of like natural instinct. Like they're gonna sort of
Well,
pull back a little bit.
that was true. You remember playing sports when you were younger. I mean, if
Yeah,
and then like on just a day like in where they had everybody like pick teams and there was male and female. Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Would
The
it?
guy, you're not gonna
You
check
have a
a.
natural ability to not to not hit a woman or hurt a woman.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and people, and there's even stats on like men having better spatial awareness. It's almost like and you know what? I think there's something to be said about this too. Now I'm just going totally off the cuff and saying theories, but every what percentage of videos of girls fighting have you seen where they don't immediately start pulling each other's hair? It has to be like less than 2%, in
well,
my
a lot of
opinion.
times what they'll do is they'll tie it back in cornrows because if they don't, they will pull their hair. I've seen it so many times.
It's just hair pulling every time. That never seems to occur to men ever. in a fight. They never think, even if they're fighting a person with long hair, they just don't do it. It's not instinctual. They don't instinctually grab the hair. Girls always instinctually grab the hair. That there's something beneath that in terms of like the innate combat instinct where it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's staggering how prevalent it is in girls fighting and how non-existent it is in men fighting. All right, I'm getting tired, man. I might
Yeah, man. Praise got a stream going. I'll bounce over there. I just was really teasing you, but thanks for opening up.
Yeah, no worries.
I've subscribed to your channel, so
appreciate it. I'll subscribe to yours too. Let me find it.
Yeah, that way, I might start going live here soon, and just like when there's nothing else going on, and
okay,
or after maybe like if it's an early chat that's ended and some people want to continue, and like a lot of times John wants to go to bed, I'll just say, hey, let John go to bed. I'm gonna open up over here.
Right.
Okay.
So,
all right, brother. Good talking to you. Thanks for opening up. I'm glad you didn't feel obligated to stay up, because definitely get your sleep, brother. And
cool.
I'll talk to you next time, man. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Later, man.
All right, see you.